Good morning, guys. Happy Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed learning about insects yesterday and doing our long O activities. And today you're going to be doing some practice with your sight words. So it's the same activity where you trace the word, you move the letters to spell the word, you say the word, and then you do a sentence using that sight word. So our two new sight words are where and look. So remember that where is a little tricky because it's the WH question word, and we have lots of them that start with that WH. So you have to look at all the letters in that word to remember which one it is, so that way you don't get confused. Remember, we talked last week about how when you're reading a sentence and you say the word in the sentence, and if it doesn't make sense, then you go back and try to use your context clues, right, to figure out what word it is, and try your best to either sound it out or look at the words in the sentence, or even the picture that goes with those words. If it's like our leveled reader that we read each week, then that can sometimes help you to figure out the word. Look is a little bit easier because you can sound that one out, and remember to say ooh. So look. So it's an easier one to remember because we can sound it out. We're going to do some more practice with our teen numbers today, and you guys are going to make sure that you're paying attention to the one at the beginning and the number that comes next to determine which teen number that might be. I know sometimes we get tricked with 11 and 12 because they don't say the teen at the end, but they're still considered teen numbers. We're also going to read for science today a story by Eric Carle, who wrote The Very Hungry Caterpillar and Brown Bear, and it's called The Very Grouchy Ladybug, and it's a good one. And then you're going to talk about a time that maybe you were grouchy. I don't know. Have we all ever been grouchy before? I know I have sometimes. So that'll be a fun activity for you guys to do today. We have a nice fun book today called Bugs. And yesterday you learned about the different characteristics of an insect and what makes an insect and what makes an insect not an insect. Just like a spider's not technically an insect because it has 8 legs instead of 6 legs. So let's see what this story is going to tell us about bugs. Bugs, written by Emily Bone, illustrated by Cynthia Battistel. And there's a cool looking beetle. Looks like it has some little babies underneath, and they're sitting on a leaf. There are all kinds of different bugs. Some bugs can jump high, grasshoppers. Other bugs have lots of legs, like a caterpillar or centipede. Lots of bugs have wings that fly around, like a butterfly, beetles. Some bugs don't have any legs or wings, like a worm. Some bugs catch other bugs to eat. A spider builds a web from sticky silk. This is a golden orb weaver spider, and it's got a moth stuck in its web. A moth gets stuck in the web. The spider eats it. So these are considered bugs, but not necessarily insects. Trapdoor spiders hide in burrows. The spider spots a bug, so they have this little trapdoor on the top, and they open it up just a tiny bit so they can see when bugs or insects are coming by so they can eat them. It jumps out of its burrow and grabs the bug. Bees and butterflies feed on flowers. There is such a sweet juice inside flowers called nectar. They suck out nectar with their long tongues. So next week we'll talk about butterflies, but they actually have this long tongue that's like a straw. And when they're not using it, it's curled up. And then when they're ready to use it, it uncurls and it goes into the flower to suck out the nectar. And it has a fancy name. It's called a proboscis. And so we'll learn about that next week, but that's kind of cool that they have like a straw that they use to suck the nectar out. Some bugs build nests. Wood ants make big nests from twigs and grass. The ants carry the pieces one at a time. So that must take them a while, right? They dig long tunnels under the ground too. Young ants grow up in the tunnels, so they lay their eggs in the tunnels for the babies to grow, and then when the babies are big enough, then they go out and they work with the other ants. Bees make nests too. Honeybees make nests from wax. The nests have lots of little holes called cells. A queen bee lays eggs in the cell. Young bees hatch out. Worker bees feed them with honey. And then here's the queen bee. Look how much bigger the queen bee is than the rest of the bees. So you can tell she's the one in charge. Some bugs look like other things. A giant leaf insect looks like a leaf. Stick insects look like twigs on trees. Orchid mantises look like orchid flowers. Dead leaf butterflies hide in brown leaves. So this is a way for them to camouflage, right? To keep them safe from predators trying to eat them. Some bugs are very big. The atlas moth is the biggest flying bug. This is the size it is in real life. So if you saw one of these in real life, it would be this big. That's pretty big, right? And then this is what the caterpillar looks like. Some bugs sting or bite like a scorpion. Scorpions can sting to catch food. Some caterpillars have stinging spines. This stops them from being eaten. So if a bird or something tried to come and eat it, it would sting it, and then it would say, "Ooh, I don't want to eat that," and it would let it go. Stag beetles have big jaws. They use their jaws to fight other beetles. Slugs and snails don't have any legs. Their slimy bodies help them to slide along. Snails have shells. They can hide their bodies inside their shells. Snails and slugs eat the leaves of plants. Bugs have babies. They look after them in different ways. Wolf spiders carry their babies on their backs. Shield bugs guard their babies under their bodies. Leaf beetles lay eggs on leaves. The babies hatch out and eat the leaves. Ants carry their babies when they move nests. So they take good care of their babies, don't they? A butterfly lays eggs on a plant. A caterpillar hatches from an egg. It eats the plant. It grows bigger and bigger. Its skin turns into a hard case. Its body changes inside the case. It becomes a butterfly. And we're going to learn more about the life cycle of a butterfly next week. Some bugs live in water. Pond skaters balance on the surface of water. Great diving beetles dive underwater to catch food. Water spiders live in webs under the water. The web has air inside. The spider breathes the air. It comes out to catch food. So that's kind of cool. He could live underwater inside of his web. Other bugs grow up underwater. A dragonfly lays its eggs on a plant. Young dragonflies hatch out. They are called nymphs. They live underwater. A nymph crawls out of the water. It breaks out of its skin and becomes a dragonfly. It flies away to find food. So that's kind of similar to what a caterpillar does to become a butterfly, because he sheds off this old skin. This is his old skin, and he turns into that dragonfly. Lots of bugs come out at night. Some moths come out to find partners. Fireflies have bodies that glow in the dark. Cicadas make a loud chirping noise. So these you'll hear at night. They make this really high-pitched chirping noise. Most bugs can't live when it gets cold. Some find ways to stay warm. Monarch butterflies fly to a place that has warmer weather. Remember we talked about that with migration and hibernation, how the butterflies migrate when it's cold and they go to warmer places, and then when the seasons change and they can come back. Snails crawl under stones. This keeps them warm. Young beetles live in the warm ground, so they're kind of hibernating, aren't they, when it gets cold. In the spring, most bugs come out again. An adult chafer beetle lives for just 2 weeks. So bugs don't normally have a long lifespan just because that's how they are. They're not like a big animal. They're small. And so they don't live for a super long time, but they are important, aren't they? We need bugs. Ants eat dead things. We have butterflies and bumblebees that help to pollinate our plants. And so they are helpful to have around. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that story, and I will see you soon for our 11:30 Zoom. Bye, guys.